Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Sinclair. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today, Aaron, we're going to talk about the Batman.
Oh, yes. He is the night. I love that guy.
He is the night. He's dark as the night.
That's right, man.
But he'll also light up the night with your love.
Whoa, you're really mixing genres there. No, he doesn't do that. I love the Batman. I'm a big comic book fan, as you know, and I'm a big animated superhero fan. So I'm a big fan of the Batman. Batman the animated series. I used to watch. I love that. Batman Beyond. Batman freaking in the old
Batman freaking
Hall of the Legion of the Superheroes. The Super Friends, used to watch those. The old Batmans from like the 60s. I watched those. I watched all the incarnations of Batman, all the movies. Seen it all, Bo.
But Batman,
ask me anything.
But Batman is not your favorite superhero.
Oh God, no, absolutely not.
That's the West Coast Avengers, right?
Well, that's not a hero. That's a team of heroes. But I'm an Avengers guy.
Yeah.
And I'm not some poser that just hopped on the bandwagon. I've got Avengers comics coming out the Yin Yang boat, if I may dust that one off again. I've got a full run of Avengers after 100 all the way up to the third volume, and I've got about 60 issues under 100. So but all that said, I do like the Batman. The Batman comics are all over the map. If you look at the history of them, if you look at his old stuff, I remember old Hat Chad lent me a book of Superman tales. And there's Batman ones similar, where these goofy tales where baby Superman's drinking from a cow's udders that he picked up, crap like that. Batman did the same kind of crap. Batman did a bunch of goofy stuff in the 60s that I don't really enjoy that much. But I like the Batman. So now you're not a big violence guy. So what's your opinion on the Batman?
Batman is my favorite superhero.
Really?
And I'll tell you,
I didn't know you had one.
And I'll tell you why. I'm not going to tell you why right now.
Okay.
But I'm gonna include it in my thoughts in the game. Mm-hmm. So, but the chat is saying that Wonder Man is actually your favorite superhero. Is Wonder Man sort of the Mr. Wrestling 2 of the comic book world?
I see that old B. Sturgeon said that. Let me tell you something. I don't know if he's being smarty or not, but I do love Wonder Man. I actually love now. Listen, we're going to get inside baseball on comics here for a second, but Wonder Man's this weird guy. He was a bad guy. He turned good guy in the early Avengers, okay? But one thing that Wonder Man did was wear a bunch of stupid outfits. I mean, the stupider, the better. Like, this is the 60s and the early 70s. You have to go out of your way to look dumb, and he did it. He looked real dumb, and that's what made him fun. And they paired him up with Beast, and they were quite a duo.
Beast is one of the Fantastic Four, right? X-Men. But at the time, he was in the Avengers. But Wonder Man I do enjoy. Really, if I had to narrow down my favorite superheroes, I do love the animated series Batman a lot. But I've always been a big Ant-Man fan, Hank Pym, and I've always been a big Hawkeye fan, Clint Barton. I like both of them a lot. So if I had to narrow down my favorites, it'd be probably one of those two. But Batman's in the top 5. I like him a lot. So he's really good. But Wonder Man's also great. I do like him. That's an interesting choice. That would just come up like that. Yeah, he says he's joking. I'm dead serious. Oh, that's Hat Chad. I should have known it was him. Smart guy. Yeah, he knows me pretty good. Let's talk about Batman, the Caped Crusader, Aaron.
You know, I'm going to tell you, Boatster, it's funny that this thing comes up. Because I have seen this Batman box cover about 1 million times when I'm doing research and stuff. I mean, it's super popular box art, and there's a reason for that because it's awesome.
Right, it's great.
It's obviously done by straight out of the comics. I'm sure this is off of an issue of the comics or a cover, or they certainly had an artist do it. I didn't look to see who did the cover art. I probably should have, but it's an awesome cover of Batman wailing on the Penguin and the Joker's on like some cards in the background laughing. It just looks like you're like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the Batman. So Batman Caped Crusader, published by Irby Software SA in 1988 and developed by Special FX Software. You know it's good because it's special, Bud. They were responsible. Now listen to this lineup, Bud. I love that. You got to do Red Heat. You got to do Hudson Hawk. All of our favorites in there. Midnight Resistance, which we covered on here, and Toki, which I think we did the Amiga version.
Is Red Heat like Red Dawn?
The Red Heat's that was a Russian guy, Dolph Lundgren, I think was in that, or it might have been, I can't remember if it was Dolph Lundgren. I think it was in that one. But it's another one of those, sloppy action
like
movies.
Commando type thing.
This is like you got a Russian cop that comes to America. I think is the premise of it.
Okay.
And of course in Russia, they raise them tough over there. So this guy doesn't screw around.
So it's not like a Yakov Smirnoff type comedy.
No, it's not.
Okay.
That would change the dynamic of Red Heat entirely. That would be great. Arnold. That was Arnold's first there. So I've never seen it, but I know of it because it's one of these games that you see. It's like one of these loser movie licenses that got made. This was put out again by Special FX Software. So who were behind this thing? Well, you got Jonathan Smith. This guy specialized. He was a specialist in this genre. Amongst his games, Cobra. That's a Sylvester Stallone schlocky action movie.
Mm-hmm.
Daley Thompson's Super Test. You know you love Daley, Bo.
I do love Daley.
Firefly, Green Beret, Hyper Sports, and then the ever popular, we got to do it one day, Street Hawk. I can't wait to get into that one.
What is the movie where Stallone is firing the gun in one hand and he's got it like up in his arm like that and he's going, yeah!
All of them.
Oh, okay.
That's all of them, folks. Also, work on this game, Charles Davies. He worked on Red Heat, of course, Hudson Hawk, Midnight Resistance, and he worked on Cabal and Guts with a Z, back when that was a popular thing. You got Karen Davies. I'd wager that's a wife and husband gimmick. She worked. She was involved in Enigma Force and another game we got to cover, Boat. The Frankie Goes to Hollywood game.
Yeah, I really want to play that.
I know. And lastly, Keith Tinman was involved. Again, Cable, Firefly, Guts, Hudson Hawk, Midnight Resistance. So these guys worked on a lot of the same games. This was the stable of programmers, artists that worked on a bunch of games. This got released, Boat, on the Amiga. Did you know the Amiga had a port of this?
I did not. I looked at several versions of this game, but I didn't look at the Amiga version.
The Amstrad, the Apple II, the Atari ST, the C64, and DOS. I should have tried this on DOS. I didn't think about that. This is a 48K specky game, one player, and you've got your usual control apparatus there, the Kempston, the redefinable keys, whole 9 yards. The original price on this boat, a very low costing £9.95. A good deal, good bargain there. Man, where were these $10 games back in the day? I would have loved to have had some of these. So, what do you do in this game? Well, you're the Batman, duh.
Yeah, you are.
And you're going to go and solve one of two cases here. You get two cases on this one, Boat.
It's a 2-for-1 deal.
It is a 2-for-1 deal. And so this game is a very interesting. This is not what I expected, Boat. I'll be honest. Yeah, this was so far not what I expected. So it starts off with Batman in the Batcave. Now, right out of the gate, I knew this was going to be wacky because the first thing, when you get down to the bottom of the rope, Batman comes rolling down the pole or whatever.
Yeah, he does.
And laying in the floor is a floppy disk. And when you pick it up, it's labeled the Bat disk. I knew right there. I'm like, man, this is gonna be, and you have to put it in the computer, and it's a game disc apparently because it says something about playing games. This is a weird game that before we get into the graphical and the style of it, just the game itself. This is a strange game. It's a combination action game and like puzzle game.
Yeah,
all right?
it's exactly what it is. It's an action puzzler.
That's right. And Batman, and this is if you had to define that genre, bam, this is it. Because there's action and there's puzzles. You are the Batman. You go around and you collect items, all right? And then when you need said item, you use it to do what you need to do. And along the way, there are bad guys come out and try to screw with you. That's the game. Batman has some moves. He's got a flying kick. He's got a punch. And then if you go get it, he can have a Batarang. I'm assuming you went and got the Batarang, Bo.
Oh, I got the Batarang right away. Batarang, Peter.
Yeah. And so, Batman, this game is a 2D game, but Batman can sort of operate in like it's a third dimension. He can turn towards the scenery or he can turn towards you.
Yeah.
And when he turns towards you, he's either going through a door that's towards you or he's going to his inventory screen.
Or he's just looking at you.
Or he just stands there like a jerk. And the inventory screen, that's where the magic happens. That's where you can use stuff. It's where you can change what he's got in his hands. And you can have there's a lot of stuff you can pick up in this game, isn't there, Boat?
Well, I mean, this game follows in the grand tradition of Spectrum games, where there are millions of things essential for your quest lying about on the floor in plain view.
Everywhere. The stuff's everywhere. Now, you start off. Again, we mentioned this as 2 games. You've got a Penguin adventure and you've got a Joker adventure. Okay. Which that right there, for £10, you're getting 2 fairly fleshed out games.
Yeah.
Now they're 15-minute game, give or take. But you still get 2 games.
It depends on how
you are.
Yeah.
If you're not suck, I got. Did you beat either game? I should ask.
No.
Okay, I got very close to finishing off the Penguin. I got very close. But this game is funny. Of course, Batman has statistics. You were talking. If you watch the Amigos this week, Bo was talking about there weren't enough statistics in there for his taste. There's statistics in this at the Yin Yang Boat.
Mm-hmm.
You've got all these bar charts.
A lot of bar action.
I was never sure because this is yet another game that doesn't actually give you any text. It gives you, it doesn't give you any help.
It's not completely true. Like when you pick up an item, it tells you what the item is.
That's as far
the only way.
Goes.
If you can't remember what the item is, you have to drop the item, then pick the item back up to remember what it is. And I did that quite a bit.
Yeah. So.
Okay, let's talk about. Can I describe this a little bit for the people listening?
I know it's killing you. Go.
Okay, so imagine that you've stepped inside the pages of a living comic book. Okay,
Yes.
This game is presented in a series of panels that overlay on top each other. Whenever Batman goes into a new room, that panel is overlaid on top the panels that have come before it.
Yes.
It's presented, other than that, it's a typical side-scrolling affair. However,
but that's a big deal.
It's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal.
There are very, very few games that have done this. What I read was that this is the only game that has done this apart from a game called Comic Zone.
Have you played Comic Zone?
No.
I have. And I was going to mention this game. When I started this game and that happened, I was like blown away. Once again, 2 weeks in a row, the Spectre blew me away because I did not expect this sort of polish. And this whole panel thing, it sounds like a gimmick, and it is, but it's a heck of a gimmick.
Yeah.
They really do a great job making this. Listen, you've got plenty of flip screen games on the Spectre, tons of them, right? But not with this kind of panache.
Right.
This is some programming prowess to put these panels. Plus,
it's a programming prowess to put you're right out of Adam West Batman, man. Join us for the programming prowess to put these panels in the next episode.
Hey, listen, that's exactly right. And at the top, it'll often have a little quote, just like in a comic book,
Yeah.
Meanwhile, or whatever. That was awesome.
It's the bomb diggity, yo.
And now Comic Zone is a great game. I can't believe you have not played this on the Sega Genesis.
I know it's a Genesis game,
Mega Drive. Because this game blew everybody away because it's the same thing. So the difference in that one is your character moves from panel to panel like manually. Like he'll swing across one panel to another, or he'll hang off the top of a panel. But it's very similar. That game's way harder than this one. But this game does the panel thing great. That makes the game. All right. Otherwise, if this game had just been a standard game where you just goes flip screen, it's no great shakes. The panel gimmick, that works great. Okay, so we could put that to bed. Panel good. Plus, think about what you're doing here. The Spectrum is not a powerhouse. It is and it's not. This thing, what you're getting is a condensed screen. It takes about a third of the screen. That's perfect. You don't have a lot to animate. You've got an excuse to have all this empty space around it, and it works. It's not only is it a brilliant programming feat, but it's very clever. Mm-hmm. Someone had the brains. These guys had the brains to pull this off. So that I love. I thought the inventory screen was confusing and goofy, but getting to it and using it wasn't that bad. Mm-hmm. Not too bad. I'll use it with a joystick. You got to think, with one joystick and one button, oh, okay, I got to build in a freaking inventory screen with about 20 things in it. Not easy, Boat.
Yeah, and
Bam,
this is
it's a done deal.
It turns your joystick into a mouse where you can go in. It's very good. It's very good.
It works.
Yeah.
It works, man. Now, did you play this on the actual Spectrum? I don't have a Spectrum.
I didn't play this one on the Spectrum this week. I was fully convinced that the 48K Spectrum could pump this out.
This thing, like I said, it looks, listen, we all know what the Spectrum's color palette is. It's not that, it can be not that good. And this isn't a colorful game, but graphically, this is quite an attractive game. If you look, color clash aside, they've got nice backgrounds. You can tell what everything is. Mm-hmm. Now, the one thing you can't do is tell what the items are. A lot of times you pick these items up, you don't know what the
Most of the items look like a leg of chicken to me.
That's yes, that's exactly right. But you learn. Yeah. This is one of those trial and error type things. But so let's talk. So we like the graphics. We like the gimmick. All right, we like that. The sound. Let's put it this way: when you get hurt, there's this alarm that goes off. And when I had left the room and it was going off, my son screamed at me, Dad, something's wrong with your computer.
It's so funny. It's funny that you mentioned that because I accidentally left this game running after I was done playing it and it had restarted itself somehow. And I heard this sound and I was like, oh my gosh, what's going on with my computer? Like I was checking all my windows and so I thought it was something in the browser. And it was this game. Yeah, the alarm is somewhat disconcerting.
Yeah, when you're in deep trouble, the alarm starts going off. Not good. Listen, we've played a lot of Spectrum games. We played something a couple weeks ago that when the music came on, my kids just clutched his hand. And he said, no, that's what it was. He said, turn it off. Turn that off. It was killing him. So in the immortal words of the magazines, the Spectrum sound is as you would expect. And this game lives up to the hype of that. But everything else looks good. And what did you think graphically, aside from the obvious gimmick? Did you like the way it looked?
I was in love with the game, the way this game looked. And I'll tell you, I looked at all the ports except for the Amiga port. I looked at the Amstrad port and I looked at the C64 port. The C64 port is easily the worst looking. It looks like somebody threw up all over the screen and then Batman walked out of it.
The Barf Man.
Yeah, it is the dirt worst. The Amstrad port is okay, except Batman is all one color, and he's not well defined. The thing that I like my Batman gray and black. First of all,
the way.
Yeah.
The palette's ready to go.
Right, and here's the thing. Batman.
I agree with you, by the way, on that.
Batman creeps around in the nighttime, okay?
That's true. Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of colors in the nighttime. There's a lot of gray, there's a lot of blue, and there's a lot of black.
I see.
Colors that are perfectly suited for the Spectrum.
So what you're saying is the Spectrum they didn't go down on the colors. This is how it would look at night. And
this game renders Gotham City in a more realistic way than any of the other ports.
There you go. This is it. This is the one then. The graphically, it's more than passable. Let's put it that way. Batman looks good. Batman's got some moves. The Batarang helps. Let's talk about. I also want to mention as we're looking at here, the transition between scenes is right out of the old show. It's with the big Batman symbol coming. So I will say that amused me. Now let's talk about the stuff we don't like, Bode. I'll start that show. The combat in this game is annoying. Number one, Batman can't beat nobody. The bad guys in this are just an annoying afterthought that come out on the screen to damage you. That's all they do. They don't capture you. They don't kill you until you've taken a ton of damage. They literally are just like automatons. They just throw out the screen, occasionally shoot their gun, and all Batman can do is sort of annoy them enough to where they leave the screen. That's all he can do. That's a fail. I want Batman to crush these guys. Well, these are flunkies.
You got to think about it, okay? And remember, this is old Batman. This isn't your new Christopher Nolan like weird whisper Batman. Batman doesn't. This is like 60s, 70s Batman, where Batman doesn't kill people. Okay, Batman just sort of like slightly scares and harasses people until they run away. So it's pretty canon in terms of the comics.
Clearly, you've not read a lot of old Batman.
No.
Where Batman would whip out a gun and shoot guys.
You got to remember, that's 40s Batman. 40s and 50s Batman, he did that sort of thing. After the Code, it was a different ball game.
Listen, what do you want, Bat-Mite to come out and smite them? Listen,
when
you tell me Batman
when
can't,
Batman
can't
turned into the
scrubs?
zebra, that was my this. I think that the combat's horrible. First of all, it is. It's not a strong point of the game. However, I don't think that like the bad guys running away is necessarily like a bad thing for Batman. Because what does Batman do? He strikes terror in the hearts of the cowardly.
No, you're wrong, and I'll tell you why. I pumped like 37 batarangs of these suckers. These suckers are no-selling batarangs. These guys, batarangs cut suckers in twain, dude. That's no good. Clearly, when they programmed this for the bad guys, they just put out bad guys and with some like very minor instructions. Go out and shoot occasionally, and then if you get hit enough, you run away. That's no good. You're Batman. You want to crush guys. That was a fail. And the thing is, it makes no sense. Just have them disappear or something when he hits them 2 or 3 times.
I don't like that. I like the fact that they run away. Because think about real life. You know, bad guys don't just disappear. They get scared. They run away.
Batman, real guys don't take 47 batarang shots. These guys that have batarang sticking out of like porcupines. And I'm going to tell you something. When you hit a guy 30 times the batarang and he keeps coming, time to go. These henchmen should be running the game.
Okay, you got a point there.
If they could take that many. Don't give me that. You know as well as I do, the combat is no good. And this is a Batman game. When you botch the combat, what the hell are you thinking?
That brings me to my next point. And that brings me to the point of why this is my favorite Batman game of all time.
Because you hate violence?
No. Because Batman, what is Batman?
Right, what is he?
What is his main job description? In classic Batman.
Crime fighter.
No. Where did Batman debut?
DC Comics?
And what does DC stand for?
Detective
Batman
Comics?
is a detective. That is his number one job. All the crime, all the busting people's chops and stuff like that, that's secondary to what Batman's real job. Batman's real job is collecting the clues, gathering the evidence, formulating a solution, and bringing the bad guys to justice. He's just like Angela Lansbury in Murder, She Wrote. Okay? So don't give me... Okay? So...
Where's Hat Chad? Go call an ambulance for that line. You're comparing him to Murder, She Wrote girl, that tubby old broad. Let me tell you something. Batman's not going to let these geeks come in and beat his butt. Are you kidding me?
Listen.
No good.
This game is great because it captures the essence of the Batman, okay? Batman, boiled down to his very core, is someone who he goes out under cover of darkness, dressed as a bat to intimidate those that might stop him, not kill them. And then he collects the evidence, he brings it back to the Batcave, and then he finds the answer, and he catches the bad guy. This game is fantastic.
First of all, this guy's like you in the bat suit.
What?
All right? Yeah, because you don't want to kill nobody or hurt him. You just want to kind of tiptoe by. That's not the way Batman operates. Can we agree that at least they could have fallen down? How about that? I'll accept that. If Batman just knocks them out, I would be okay with it. But I mean, come on. The combat, it stinks. I want to hear you say this combat stinks.
Yeah, it's no good.
And I'll be satisfied. It's no good. When they plan this part of the game, this is as unclever as the panels are clever. So they kind of even out. So what are you left with? Well,
he's got that kind of like spinal low kick thing from Killer Instinct.
He does, which is not easy to get off. I mean, I can't attest to what joysticks they had on the Spectrum, but for my classic Wicco, no good. I was impressed by the depth of this game, and when I say that, I mean Batman could go a lot of places, and there's tons and tons and tons of map places in this game. For example, on the Penguin adventure. After you go up to the roof of this building, you go into this building after you get in there with the key, and this building's huge. You go into like 30 rooms, and it's crazy big, easy to get lost. And when the game is easy to get lost in, there's a lot of depth there. So a surprising amount of depth in this game. This isn't like those Popeye games we played, where there's like maybe 20 screens. This thing's got 100
it's
screens.
Massive.
Probably.
And there were, the game didn't come with a map, obviously, but in later magazines, they did publish maps. And I have a feeling that those were widely used because the game is massive. And this game does lend itself okay to being graphed out, but it would take a lot of doing for sure.
Well, and also the graph, it's just not the easiest game to graph due to the way Batman moves in. Sometimes he'll move towards you.
It's in 3 dimensions. It's weird.
But it works. That part works. They got everything here right except for the actual combat. The combat blows. So if you're playing, there's also, if you're looking for Batman to swing, if you want to drive the Batmobile, you could throw that. That's not going to happen. You see the Batmobile, but
Batman didn't start swinging until the Adam West Batman when he did the Bat Tootsie.
Are you kidding me? I don't mean that kind of swinging. By the way, did you notice that the Batman, the Batmobile's license plate said "Bat" on it? Yeah. Surely you noticed that, Bode. Because that struck me instantly. I was like, look at that. He had his
$75 a year for that. What are you doing?
I just wonder, does Batman actually pay for a license? Does he get inspected? Can you imagine going down to DMV with the Batmobile? Maybe he's in Gotham. That's in the United States.
True.
If they're like West Virginia, he's got a guy going over that car. Well, these gun barrels are a little bit off. And you're leaking oil here out of the oil slick barrel you got stuck in the back. Is this flaming engine up to code? And I don't know. Yeah. Honda just nailed it. Is the emissions check? That's where the Batmobile's screwed. We've got a huge jet engine strapped to this Batmobile. I always wondered how that would help your car. I guess because you've got a lot of speed. But you ever seen those guys that strap an engine, a jet to their car in the desert, and they shoot that thing? You've got no control. No. It's a rocket ship.
That's why you need that robotic arm to shoot out and grab the light pole to swing you around.
That's something else. That was in that other Batman game where you could swing off these light poles. What do they think these light poles are anchored to the ground with? I've seen suckers just hit those things and they fall over. And the Batmobile, as heavy as that thing is with 1 million tons of thrust, going 150 miles an hour down the street, they're going to use that to make a right turn? I don't think so, man. Anyway, you don't have to worry about that
Batman,
in this game because there is no Batmobile.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe...
How long did it take you to realize you could climb that building in the first adventure?
Oh, well, I watched a couple playthroughs before I delved in.
Boo!
So.
I played it and had no idea what I was doing. And I looked all over the city. I'm like, wow, I can't get any further. And then I just happened to push the joystick in the right direction. He started climbing. I'm like,
now, let me tell you something.
I feel like an idiot.
There are a lot of people that would ask, how in the world did the Amigos review Batman the Caped Crusader before they reviewed Batman? Because
I don't know what that
do you know about the other Batman game for the Spectrum?
There are several other Batman. Yeah. I know there's another one.
Okay, well, the really famous one is the isometric one. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
That game is trash compared to this game. I've played them both.
Oh.
This game is way better. If you're only going to play one Batman game for the Spectrum, this is it by far. If you want some isometric nonsense, fire up Night Lore.
Hold on a second. I'm not going to endorse that opinion, Bode, because we haven't played that yet. So you jumped the gun. And also, that game's got a real good rep. And since you've got a real bad rep, I'm going to listen to the community and ignore you. You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't played that game enough. How many times have you fired the isometric?
Listen, I once saw it through a glass darkly.
That's right. You form an opinion at a drop of a hat. That's why we'll get to that game. Then you're going to have to pay the piper then, Bode. See, look, you already pissed off Frodo. He ain't taking that crap. Now, we mentioned there are 2 adventures in this game, a penguin one and a Joker one. You've got the Joker one's called A Bird in the Hand, and the penguin one, the Joker one's called A Fete, Fete, Worse Than Death. And at that one, you have to rescue Robin, who's tied to this bridge. I like that, man. I like the fact that they put 2 different villains in here. That's a very clever way to do business. Again, you're getting these 2 adventures for $10. I think that's a heck of a bargain. Despite the fact that the combat stinks, I give this a ringing endorsement, Bode.
Well, you're not alone. And by that, I mean you are alone. Because we got some Discord reviews, Aaron. And they killed this game.
All right,
Frodo NL writes, I tried playing this in the 80s and never really got it. When playing it again this week, I still had similar issues. I mostly found it confusing. For a puzzler, it seems too dependent on you dodging bullets, penguins, and rats, and while for an action game, it depends too much on map making and puzzling. Since I wondered if part of my confusion was possibly caused by the graphics, I decided to also play the Amiga version of the game. The way clearer graphics made the game quite a bit more playable, but it still doesn't click for me. All in all, not a game for me. 5 out of 10.
Oh, 50%? Brutal.
Duncan Styles writes, I have some very recent experience on this on the CPC, which is slightly superior to the Speccy version. The Spectrum has more colorful graphics, but the mono Batman sprite and color clash make it a bit of a mess. In-game music, Catwoman, and Penguin seem to be missing from the Spectrum too. I suppose it comes down to 48K versus 64K. I can't think of any other game of the era that uses the comic panel layout, which is great. It's a neat way of keeping the action confined to a small area of the screen, which should help keep the game running smoothly. The pickup items could have used some descriptive text on your inventory screen. Some are not obvious.
That's true.
Combat is annoying and fiddly. Didn't love it on the CPC and wouldn't recommend it here either. 4 out of 10.
Wow, that's brutal.
Paul, aka Hermsky, writes, a Herm Firm, 7 out of 10. On first impressions, I was not too enthralled, finding all the screen flashing and pop-ups a bit too much for me. But once I got over realizing the game reviewed well in magazines, I gave it more time and found it to be an addictive little puzzler. Good soothing sound effects and nice graphics made the game more pleasurable. After a bit of time, I found it easy to get my head around the inventory, discovering what things did and what was all part of the adventure. However, I noticed something a little off-putting and odd about the face-fronting Batman sprite. Can I see a little something poking out? Surely not. Finally, Chris Folds writes...
Yeah, wait a minute. Do you know what he's talking about?
I have a feeling it's something...
I didn't notice it, but now I'm going to have to go look.
Yeah, that's the plan.
No good. Hermsky, what?
Chris Folds writes, an addictive action puzzler that does take some effort to get into, but rewards you if you put the effort in. I was unfamiliar with the Spectrum version, and the lack of graphical fidelity does make you squint at times, and a few bits are missing compared to other versions, but if you were a true blue Spectrum owner and never played the others, this game delivers more than delivers. 7 out of 10. Thank you to all of our Discord reviews. If you are a Patreon supporter of our Sinclair, you can leave us a review too, and we'll read it on the air.
What do you think, Bo? Where do you put this in your pantheon? Where do you score this thing? We're not reviewers, but where do you put this thing?
Using my ARG system, I would give it a definitely above average grade.
Yeah, we have a system? When did that start?
My personal ARG system.
Oh, I see. So I give this I think it's the short. I'll tell you, the number one shortcoming, not having text on the inventory screen, is the worst. That's the worst. Combat number 2.
Here's the thing.
I didn't know Catwoman was involved in any of these, so I didn't see Penguin so that you got that right. They shortchanged us on that.
Here's the thing: there are a ton of Batman games. There's a million of them. Okay, most of them are utter dreck. They're just the worst, the dirt worst. This is not one. You wouldn't agree with that?
No, but Batman, he's never been a bad game.
Okay, well, this game has you doing things that I feel like, in my mind, Batman would normally do. Okay, so like Batman's walking around, he's walking around at a realistic looking Gotham City. He's encountering realistic looking thugs. He's doing his Batman thing, okay? He's not doing wacky stuff. He's not doing weird stuff. He's doing Batman, okay? And the panels make it look like a comic book, which is great. The combat is not awesome, but the strength of Batman to me has never been in combat. Like, the thing I love, the reason why Batman is my favorite superhero is that Batman doesn't have special powers. He didn't get bit by a radioactive spider. He doesn't have some weird metal poured into his veins. He's a normal dude, okay? And
adhere to his bone structure.
Well, and he does, and that's what makes him attractive to me, because there's a million ways that you can go see really super strong guys beat up other dudes. That's like every superhero comic. Batman, he's a thinking man superhero, and this game involves a lot of thinking.
Let me ask you one more question here, Boatster. If this did not have the cool panel gimmick and was just a flip screen game, would you think less of it, a lot less?
I don't know if I'd think a lot less, but it definitely adds. But I mean, it's such an awesome concept. Every superhero game should have some sort of like comic. I'm not saying every superhero game should be like this, but I think it's sort of like the beginning of Marvel movies. You know, like the opening credits for Marvel movies, it shows just like a bunch of still screens as the Marvel thing zooms into view. You need to give a nod back to the comic book roots of superheroes, for sure.
I like that, Bo. Very good. Well said, sir.
All right, Aaron. We got some reviews this week. On the old Now, before we get into that, did this game review at all in the magazines of the day?
I did. Speaking of reviews, Boat, The World of Spectrum and What a World gave this 8.09. Ace gave this a basically a 90. Their grading scale
it's out of 1,000. Yeah,
weird. Crash gave this a 93. Sinclair user a 90. The Games Machine 76. They killed it. Your Sinclair gave this a 9 out of 10. And for those that care, and it's worth it, I think, that although you don't get the box, just the tape, $6 will get you this tape. This is what I think I'd hold out for, like the Amiga, the ST version. Just go get the box, which I will say the box looks awesome. That's worth. $10.
I will say that the box is slightly misleading because it's
slightly. Yeah, he's actually finishing someone off in combat. Right. That right there is misleading.
So we did get a couple reviews this week, Aaron. We just got a couple messages from some new supporters, and I thought I'd share those with you.
Oh boy,
our first one comes from Jonah, aka Simulant. He says, I've just joined Clive's Club and wanted to support your great Specky show for some time now. Finally, it has happened. I've actually always been an Amstrad CPC fanboy and grew up with Amstrads and later moved on to Amigos. However, my first computer when I was 7 years of age was the Rubber Key 48K Specky, so I will always have a great fondness for Spectrums and their awesome gameplay. I'm also now a proud Spectrum Next owner and hope you can feature this great new powerful computer in the future on the podcast. Anyway, I wanted to message you to encourage you to keep up the great work. I've listened to every show from week one, and I'm always excited for every installment. Thanks, and all the best. Thank you, Jonah.
Thank you, Bo. Are you gonna get you a Spectrum Next?
Oh, maybe on the next run through. It is an attractive.
Yeah, we weren't
even
close to getting one of those. At the time when this went on sale, we were like, "What's a Spectrum?"
We had no idea. For a long time, the Spectrum Next, the Spectrum Vega, and the Coleco Chameleon were all the same in my mind.
I'll say, when's the Archimedes Next come out? I'm on board,
absolutely.
Man. Fire that up.
And then we also got a new patron that wrote us a little note. Lee Robertson writes, "Hi there, greetings from the UK. Love the ARG Sinclair podcast. I used to have a 48K Spectrum, then a 128K Specky between 82 and 89. I find it fascinating listening to two Americans talking about the games I used to play back when I was at school and hearing how some of your thoughts echo mine from back in the day. It's brought back lots of memories, and I've started playing the games all over again on my Spectaculator emulator. Keep up the good work." So thank you, Lee. We appreciate the support.
Yeah, man.
And of course, we would be remiss if we didn't thank all the folks that have joined us live here in the chat. You know, we record ARG Sinclair live every Friday over at twitch.tv/Amigos Retro Gaming. We want to thank Retro Gaming Denmark, Frodo NL, Duncan Styles, Picard 2010, Pixels at Dawn doing a great job modding, Rushi, MSX. I know I'm saying your name wrong. Sorry. Edvin Helland is with us. Thank you guys so much, Frodo NL, Mitsuyama, for joining us for the old ARG Sinclair show. And we also thank all of our Patreons. If you are a supporter of ARG Sinclair, you get access to our Discord server where we're chatting about the Specky and all kinds of things all day long. There's also awesome magnets you get around Christmas time, and it's just a way for you to say thanks, and we do appreciate all the fine folks that support our show. And we want to thank our special new Clive's Club member, Jonah, aka Simulant. In addition, all of our other supporters, O'Brien's Retro and Vintage, Mark Downey, Hermski, Andrew Waite, Cap'n Crispy, Laurent Giroux, Gary Heather, Eric Nelson, Harbonauts, Graham Vebke, Frodo NL, Tapes from the Crypt, Pixels of Dawn, Chris Folds, Paul Harrington, and Christopher Hassall. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aaron, next week we're going to play something pretty cool. This is actually...
Allegedly.
This is a from our newest Clive's Club member. Oh yeah, we want to thank Chris Folds for picking this one for us, Clive's Club member.
Yeah, good choice, Folds.
Jonah, aka Simulant, has chosen. Say it.
Werewolves of London.
Werewolves of London.
That's
it's a game.
Yes. Yes.
You got it.
All right. I never had any idea there was a game
man,
of that.
It's based on the Warren Zevon song To the Letter.
It's not based on
no,
the film?
Gosh, no. Who would base a movie or a game on that movie? That thing was awful.
I like that movie. Are you
wasn't
kidding
Jack
me?
Lemmon in that?
What? Who? Oh. Jack Lemmon?
From The Odd Couple.
No, Rick Mayall was in it. I like him. But yeah, it's great.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that next week.
It's not your cup of tea,
I don't think so. It seems like werewolves do a lot of eating. Do werewolves eat people?
You got that right, buddy. Yeah, they do.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. That's a little prep work I'm doing on next week's show. I'll keep that in my back pocket. All right, Aaron. We'll see you guys next time. Until then, rewind tape.
And press play.